try not to show off. It's not the goal. We have always to serve music. It's not about us, it's about the music. Can I avoid string crossing? Yes or not? If not, let's see what happens. The experience comes with the years, and knowledge comes with this experience. And it is the point when we start thinking by ourselves instead of doing what someone is telling us, or doing what a composer wrote in the scores regarding fingering, for example. So we can expand our horizon of fingering, and that is one of the very interesting subjects that we have as a guitarist. We have several possibilities. Very often we have many possibilities of doing one thing. There is not black or white. There is not an absolute truth in what we are doing, but very often many possibilities. And each person is different, and each person can find the way to do things in a different way. So I would like you to talk about the thinking and the process of thinking of fingering. It is very important that you pay attention to different aspects of a scale and when we are putting the fingers in one scale. And I would like you to go through this aspect. The first aspect would be right hand, positive, negative change, string crossing. Do I want to avoid that? Is this avoidable? Is not avoidable? Right hand plays a very important role while playing scales, because if I have string crossing and very few or none negative change, the fluidity of this scale is going to be a little bit higher. It's going to be more comfortable, let's say that way. In the other hand, if we have a string crossing and positive and negative change, it's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable. So for us, it is very important always try to search for a fingering that doesn't involve a string crossing. So always try to move with the finger that it makes the scale comfortable. We already talked about that in the previous courses, but try to, when you go in that direction, make the change with the longest finger. In that case, it's middle finger. And in the other way around, if you go in that direction from first to sixth, try to do the change with the shorter finger, in that case, the index finger. So that could be, for me, one of the aspects to take in consideration while thinking about fingering in one long scale. Can I avoid string crossing? Yes or not? If yes, I will try to do it definitely. If not, let's see what happens. Let's talk about when and where we can find this problematic. Let's take, for example, a C major scale, and we're going to see what happened with our right hand. If our goal is to avoid string crossing, then we have to adapt our fingering to our right hand. For example, if we play C major in the second position, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, let's see what happens. If I play with this fingering, which means the note G with the fourth finger instead of open string, and I start with middle, I have positive change here, and then negative change when I play A. So that's not very interesting for me. I can play, of course, you have to be able to play it, but for me it's more interesting in that case not to have positive and not to have negative changes, also not to have this string crossing. So if I play it with this fingering, negative change is going to be involved. It doesn't matter if I start with index, because I have the negative vexel at the beginning, or with middle, I will have it between the fourth and the third string. But if I play this note instead of on the fourth string with the fourth finger, if I play it open on the third string, I don't have this problematic anymore. Middle, index, string, change with positive pixel, positive change. Middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index. And the problematic is already gone. So I have on my right hand always positive changes that is going to give me the fluency and the security. It's going to be fluent for my right hand to play it. It doesn't mean that I have to do it. It's one possibility. As I said, you have to choose. Another thing that you have to take in consideration is how smooth are we going to move our left hand through the board. When we play scales that involves multiple octaves, usually we have to do the shifting because we have to move through the board. And if we do the shifting, it can happen if it is a very fast scale that it doesn't sound rhythmically because we have a change position. And it is dangerous to make a mistake because it's very fast. So there is a way to avoid that. That is by using open strings. For example, if I want to go from the second position to the seventh position, just doing a D major scale, it could be convenient for me if I use the first string open, so I have a little bit more of time, I can breathe, and continue the scale on the 7th fret. So the goal of using open strings while shifting is to gain a little bit of time for our hand to play without stress, to gain legato as well, and to avoid this cut between these two notes that is going to allow us not to play legato. Can I play it without open string? Yes. Can I play with open string? Yes. What is better for me? What I do prefer? In that case, I would prefer to have a bit more time to do the shifting in order to be relaxed. No? It's not a stress anymore. I'm going to let my finger on the string like a trend we already talked about. And it's going to help me to do this transition. It happens in many cases. The same case we can find by playing scales ascending, but also descending. For example, if we got to go from a very high note to the lowest notes that we can find in the guitar, we have to do shiftings, but we can use open string to do it. For example, if I do it, instead of playing E here and then play the next note on the same string, which could be a cut, a very stressed movement, I can use an open string to do it. And then I move my hand. So the goal of this kind of fingering is to have a little bit more time, to be not as stressed as possible, and to gain legato. Usually, when we play scales, we have in mind a very fast group of notes, a very virtuosistic passage. And we have to think about that. What is the goal of playing scales fast? We do it because the music asks us for that, or we do it to showing off. And that is a very important aspect. We have always to serve music. It's not about us, it's about the music. So it's not necessarily a goal we have to reach. It's a tool in order to play the music and in order to play what is in the score written. It's not about us showing off that we are really virtuosistic and we can play very fast. So that is one thing you have to remember. Try not to show off. It's not the goal. If you can play fast, great, you have a tool, but it's not the ultimate goal. And what happens if we are not able to play fast? We can, of course, practice, we can try to increase our tempo, to increase our speed, but we have limits, and it is okay to know our limits, and it is okay how to know how we are built. I can train as much as I want, and I can have the best trainers that I want, but I will be never as fast as Usain Bolt, because we are built different. That doesn't mean that I cannot reach my top speed, but I cannot compare myself with another person and be miserable by not playing as fast as this person is. So try to be satisfied with the way you play by trying to do as much as you can, the best way you can. But don't be sad, don't be frustrated if you cannot play as fast as other guitarists, because first of all, it's not a goal, and second, each person is different. And maybe you can adapt your program, your repertoire, depending on your skills. Maybe it's not interesting to play a piece like Giraldilla by Joaquin Rodrigo that is really, really, really fast if you cannot play it. It doesn't make any sense. So try to search a repertoire that fits you. Maybe you have a beautiful sound, you can play very legato, or whatever. Try to find a repertoire that it fits you. And if you cannot play very fast, don't worry, you don't need it. We have tons of pieces that doesn't involve to play scales in a very, very, very high way. And usually, the music doesn't ask for this speed. We play so fast because we want to show off. So that is a very important concept to differentiate between what does the music want, what do we want. And don't forget that we have to serve music.